As one of the biggest Blake Lively supporters on this app, this footage that I'm about to show you guys is going to make it really, really difficult for me. Sorry, but this girl just keeps digging herself into a hole that I cannot dig her out of. This behind the scenes footage of them filming a very romantic scene, and in the scene it is very apparent that Blake Lively is very comfortable and almost a little bit flirtatious. This could have been well before he did something that made her feel uncomfortable. I'm not saying that SH did not happen on the set of this movie, but as new evidence becomes available, it is much harder to be on Blake Lively's side, and I am still trying.
In the latest episode of Hollywood's never-ending drama series, we find ourselves engrossed in the saga of Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, co-stars of the film adaptation of It Ends With Us. What began as a promising collaboration has spiraled into a legal quagmire, with allegations flying faster than a tabloid's printing press. Lively, known for her poised demeanor, has accused Baldoni of misconduct and orchestrating a smear campaign against her. Baldoni, not one to take things lying down, has countered with lawsuits of his own, alleging defamation and extortion.
The New York Times released Blake Lively's complaint, suing Justin Baldoni, Wayfarer Studios, Jamie Heath, his PR company, and many more. There are a lot of allegations in this complaint, but primarily it alleges sexual harassment and retaliation. The complaint goes into significant detail about what occurred, including an all-hands meeting where Blake's team presented a list of items that Justin Baldoni and his team had to immediately cease. There were also thousands of pages of text messages indicating that Baldoni and his team planned social media attacks against Blake Lively. Okay, so how does all of this work from a legal perspective? Blake must prove her claims by a preponderance of the evidence, meaning that it is more likely than not that the harassment and retaliation occurred. So what are the next steps? Justin and the other defendants have 30 days to respond to the complaint. Okay, so Justin does not need to prove his innocence, but his team will need to disprove Lively's version of the events to show that the allegations are false or that his conduct was actually lawful.
Amidst this legal crossfire, the spotlight has now turned to Lively's lawyer, who, after a significant courtroom defeat, has reportedly vanished faster than a celebrity marriage. Let's delve into this tangled web of lawsuits, accusations, and disappearing acts that make even the most sensational soap operas seem mundane.
He can also countersue. There was also a question about whether Justin would be held personally liable or whether he would be indemnified by the studio. Under California law, Justin can be held personally liable for his actions if he was acting in his personal capacity and not as a producer, director, or employee of the studio. So what about damages? In this type of case, Blake does not necessarily need to claim financial damages. She can just claim wrongful conduct. However, that is not the case here, and any good lawyer knows to throw in the kitchen sink in a complaint. The complaint alleges that Blake's personal brand suffered, as well as her businesses, including her alcohol brand Betty Booze and her hair care brand Blake Brown. So, will this case go to trial? In my opinion, it is unlikely that this kind of case will settle because Blake Lively has plenty of money. This will likely go on for quite some time, so stay tuned because Baldoni's answer is due in 30 days.
The tale begins on the set of It Ends With Us, a film adaptation of Colleen Hoover's best-selling novel. In January 2023, the casting announcement was made, with Lively and Baldoni set to star, and Baldoni also taking on the role of director. By May 2023, filming had commenced, but rumors of tension on set began to surface. These whispers grew louder when, in December 2024, Lively filed a formal complaint alleging that Baldoni had created a hostile work environment through inappropriate comments and unwelcome advances. She further claimed that after she voiced her concerns, Baldoni and his team embarked on a smear campaign to tarnish her reputation.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we're gonna have to rename this movie to It Never Ends because Justin Baldoni has just filed his own 80-page lawsuit, this time against the New York Times for defamation, specifically $250 million worth of defamation in what he says is actually a smear campaign against him. So because we're intellectually honest over here, I read the entire lawsuit from front to back.
Baldoni's response was swift and aggressive. In January 2025, he filed a $400 million lawsuit against Lively and her husband, Ryan Reynolds, accusing them of orchestrating a campaign to destroy his career. He alleged that the couple used their influence to seize creative control of the film and alienate him from the project. Baldoni's complaint painted a picture of a power couple leveraging their Hollywood clout to sideline him and take over the production.
Are you going to sue Blake Lively too?
Into oblivion, Megan. Wait till you see this lawsuit. It's all going to be based on evidence. It's not going to be just a lawsuit. It's going to be the kind of lawsuit that is full of evidence, admissions, documents, which prove exactly what she did and how she bullied her way through the process to take over the movie and used her PR people to try and destroy Justin. There's a number of different defendants here. Stephanie Jones will be all over this complaint. That is the PR agent who was supposed to be working for Justin Baldoni. Leslie Sloan, who's another PR agent who will be part of this lawsuit. That was Blake Lively's. Blake Lively will be sued, and we're carefully considering other people that will be sued also. Ryan Reynolds, for sure.
As the legal battle intensified, both sides engaged in a war of public opinion. Lively's team released a series of text messages purportedly showing Baldoni's publicist discussing strategies to bury her in the media. One such message read, "We can bury anyone," suggesting a deliberate attempt to tarnish Lively's image. Baldoni's camp countered by accusing Lively of manipulating these communications to fit her narrative, claiming that the messages were taken out of context and did not represent a coordinated smear campaign.
Justin Baldoni's lawyer has spoken out on a podcast in regards to the potential of a settlement between his client and Blake Lively. As well, an intimacy coordinator has weighed in and has said that she thinks that Blake trusted Justin at one point. Basically, Blake Lively Justin Baldoni cases likely won't settle before trial, and this is according to Justin's lawyer. So 3 months after Blake Lively levied SH allegations on the set of It Ends With Us, Justin Baldoni's lawyer admitted that a settlement likely isn't in the forecast. Now that is significant because generally civil cases do end in settlement. The vast majority of them do. However, there can be cases where things are really, really intense and you've got parties that just will absolutely refuse to settle. And I think that is interesting because previously we have seen that Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni both refused to meet with the mediator and potentially have a settlement. So what was true in February, it seems nothing much has changed. We're still going to court, at least according to Brian Friedman. So the high-profile litigator Brian Friedman noted that his client has been destroyed by this, his words, as he broke down the cases during a recent appearance on the podcast The Town. So the host said, how long can this go on? I don't believe there will be a trial in the case. I think that the potential for the circus and the damage to both sides here will ultimately win out and you guys will settle. So if that's the case, why not just settle now? And then said, what's the number? What would it require for this to go away? Just to stop. And I think it's interesting. We talked a bit in the chat just about this, and a lot of people felt like the only thing that would really make a settlement possible would be an apology, a public apology.
In the midst of this legal and PR maelstrom, attention turned to Lively's legal representation. Her lawyer, who had been vocal in the media, suffered a significant setback when a judge dismissed a key component of Lively's lawsuit, citing insufficient evidence. This loss was a blow to Lively's case and, according to sources, led to increased scrutiny of her legal team's tactics. Following this courtroom defeat, reports emerged that Lively's lawyer had become unresponsive and was not attending scheduled meetings. Speculation ran rampant, with some suggesting that the lawyer had gone into hiding to avoid the fallout from the case's collapse. Others posited that the lawyer was regrouping to devise a new strategy in light of the recent setbacks. Regardless of the reason, the lawyer's sudden disappearance added another layer of intrigue to an already convoluted saga.
So Friedman then said, you keep referring to it as a circus, and I get it. You see a lot of cases, you see a lot of things, and you do a great job, But the reality is this is not a circus when you go through an experience like this. And that's true. I think it's easy for people to kind of sit back on the sidelines and be able to, take this in almost as entertainment, but these types of cases take a massive personal toll. They take a huge financial toll. So Friedman added, I've represented a lot of people in the worst moments of their careers, the worst moments of their life. And Justin has been destroyed by this. This is a really serious thing. And in this day and age, the only way you can truly get back is to prove your innocence. And he noted how trials are now important to prove your innocence. And that's exactly what we're working to. He said, so that may only be done in a courtroom. And I think that that's entirely possible, and we're going to see how things go when it comes to that.
The media frenzy surrounding the case has been relentless. Tabloids have dissected every development, from the initial allegations to the latest courtroom maneuvers. Public opinion has been divided, with some siding with Lively, applauding her for standing up against alleged misconduct, while others view Baldoni as a victim of a calculated attempt to undermine his career. Social media platforms have been abuzz with debates, memes, and conspiracy theories, reflecting the polarized views of the public.
I don't know how many of you guys remember this article, but it was absolutely everywhere. And basically, Mia's take on the video was that it didn't prove Justin's case. It actually backed up Blake's, which a lot of people disagreed with, and it caused a lot of controversy. So I was interested that Mia spoke for this documentary. So let's get into what Mia said. So a Hollywood intimacy coordinator believes there was, at least at one point, some affection between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. So Mia, whose credits include Apple TV Plus's Lessons in Chemistry and HBO's Insecure and Perry Mason, weighed in on the dramatic on-set feud between the It Ends With Us co-stars, which is now the subject of multiple lawsuits. Dueling lawsuits filed by Lively and Baldoni include text messages the stars sent to one another while filming the movie, including a discussion in which the pair discussed script changes that Baldoni ultimately acquiesced to.
Amidst the chaos, the production of It Ends With Us has been overshadowed by the legal disputes. The film, which was initially slated for a wide release, has seen its promotional efforts hampered by the negative publicity. Industry insiders speculate that the ongoing feud could impact the film's box office performance and future award considerations. The project's financiers are reportedly concerned about recouping their investments, given the tarnished reputations of its leading stars. The legal community has also taken note of the case, particularly the conduct of Lively's lawyer. Ethics committees are reportedly reviewing the lawyer's actions, especially in light of the abrupt disappearance. Colleagues have expressed surprise at the lawyer's uncharacteristic behavior, noting that such actions could have long-term implications for their legal career. As the dust settles, questions remain about the future of those involved. Will Lively and Baldoni be able to salvage their careers after such a public feud? Can the film overcome the negative press to find success with audiences? And perhaps most intriguingly, will Lively's lawyer resurface to continue the fight, or has this legal battle claimed another casualty? Let me know in the comments section below.